Okay, I think I'm delayed a little bit. I'm not sure if I started that the right way. I did not. It's all good. Okay, now I'm here. Walter Rouse decommits from Nebraska after committing, 2 days ago? I had just put him in my video. And in that video, I had talked about him being Nebraska's number two portal commitment. And the commitment only lasted, 2 days. And I don't know why he decommitted. I don't know what happened. I'm going to read what I just saw. Hang on. Guys, I'm sorry. I've had a busy morning, and I tried to just get on here real quick. I didn't have anything prepared. There we go. Now we're all coordinated. I'm all in. Boomer Sooner. This is 2 days after he said I'm all in with Nebraska. I never knew how the power of one's faith and gut intuition could so forcefully persuade a decision. That happened to me this week. So a gut intuition forced him, apparently, to commit to Nebraska, is what I'm reading. On Friday the 13th, yes, it's Friday the 13th. I mean, why didn't we expect some crazy shit to go down? I informed the head coach at the University of Oklahoma that I would be decommitting from the University of Nebraska, and I'll play my last year for the 129th football team at Oklahoma. I'll give an exclusive interview with Carl, whatever. And the quote says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path." That's sweet. Well, Nebraska ends up, what do we say, thin on the offensive line? I think that's a fair word. I don't want to say anything mean to the current offensive linemen. But they knew that we really wanted Walter Rouse. Everyone knew we really wanted Walter Rouse. And for him to just dip out is just gut punch. Why? Someone said something in response to my tweet. They said, money's a part of the game. Everyone does it. Got to make sure guys want to be at the program, but at the same time, make sure they're taken care of. I'm not sure if this was an IL deal. I'm not sure if this was I feel better going to a winning program with more proof. If Oklahoma came in at the last hour and sold him on some things that they hadn't sold before, like they knew they were about to lose him, so they came in and said, look, here are all the flaws with Nebraska, and we can try and pull you away because of those. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Austin says stuff like this would happen on Friday the 13th. That's a fact. And Skurs and Trolling says money talks. Got to find someone who wants to be here. And I don't know. Is it money? Is it something else? I have no clue. But here's the good news. Nebraska has other visitors coming in. We're not done in the portal. I don't know what's going to happen with offensive linemen. I know we're going to get Brett Seether this weekend. Well, no, actually, he's there this weekend. So he's already there. He's on a visit. It says 99% chance that he comes to Nebraska. This would be tight end depth. This probably wouldn't be instant starting tight end. Then they have, I think, MJ Sherman visiting today. He was a former top 30 player in the country, top 10 at his position. From what I've read online, MJ is a star linebacker or edge rusher. He would start at most schools in the country, but because he's at Georgia, where they're so deep at that position, where it's all NFL players, he just, slipped down the depth chart a little bit. But at Nebraska, he would probably be a day one starter. So they've got other guys coming. Now, I don't break news, and I'm not going to break news today. I'm waiting for something to come out about it. But I did hear that there is a former star from the portal taking a visit to Nebraska. Star. Not a former star from the portal. A star in the portal, a former star recruit taking a visit to Nebraska. So it's not done. I'm not going to say his name because it's not my job. I don't report news. But I do react to the news. And I can tell you right now, this staff is not done. This staff is going and they're finding 5 stars, former 5 stars, guys who are highly rated, guys who are ready to come in and make an instant impact, guys who can be NFL players next year. They are going to find them. They are still out there, and they are targeting them. Last year, what we saw from Scott Frost's staff, they went after some unknown names. They went after some guys who had high ceilings, but it didn't feel like they went after anybody who was an instant NFL star. Trey Palmer ended up becoming one, right? Trey Palmer ended up being a guy who was a former 5-star, former high 4-star, and then was developed by Mickey into a key number 1 receiver. But his past didn't say he had that ability outside of a couple kick return touchdowns. This staff is going after stars, guys who have film at big schools, guys who have proven success, and guys who would go to the NFL. And it's going to come out. I'm just not going to be the one who announces it. We're not done. We're not done. Daniel says, where does Nebraska rank in the portal against the other Big Ten teams? I can tell you that right now. Hang on. Daniel, thanks for the $5. I'm going to get to all these questions. I know I've been delayed on chat. 1 second. Team rankings, transfer portal, 23. This is really easy information to find out. So you go here. No, it's 24/7 Sports. We're going to do On3 because On3 has a better system right now. Okay, team transfer portal rankings. Now, here's the problem with these. They're a little funny because I don't think UCLA actually has a number 1 portal class. If you look at some of their players, they have 2 high-level guys and the others are kind of eh. SMU, same thing. They have a lot of transfers in, so their rating is inflated. Wisconsin is deserving of the number 4 spot. Okay, anyway, I just wanted to let you know I don't fully agree with these rankings right now. If we go to the Big Ten, Wisconsin's number 1, deservedly. They are on a freaking tear. Wisconsin is transitioning from old school Wisconsin power run game to we're going to become a dynamic offense that can win the way Ohio State wins. We're going to have a real quarterback who's going to the NFL. We're going to have multiple big-time NFL receivers, and they now have those. We already have one of the best backs in the country, and we've been proven at our development on the offensive line. So Wisconsin's going to be a force. They are going the Ohio State route. Indiana is looking awesome. They're going to get that quarterback, I think they're going to get him, from Tennessee, who's a former borderline 5-star. Indiana already got a really good defensive end who Nebraska wanted, so IU's doing well. Nebraska fills in at number 4 here, though, in the Big Ten. Illinois, Michigan State right behind them. But Nebraska's doing a great job, and I'm telling you, they are not done yet. Okay, I'm hyped. I'm pumped because the name I heard this morning got me excited. James, thank you for the $5. Doesn't surprise me until any commits are really committed and start practicing with the team. It's still fair game. It's very true. I didn't understand how it worked with the transfer portal guys. My understanding before was that guys who were committing from the transfer portal were signing pretty quickly after that. But I guess that's not how it works because I didn't think of this. But sign what? All you have to do is enroll at the school and go play. And it wasn't time to enroll yet. So, yeah, that Walter Rouse thing made absolutely no sense. That was an absolute stunner. There was a comment in here about O'Shawn. I can't find it now. Someone said that O'Shawn was a plug-and-play NFL guy. He was. That was the one we did get out of the entire class. So I did make a mistake there. Nebraska had 1. What's up with Hornsby? Why was everyone think we flipped him? So everyone had this idea that Hornsby was going to come to Nebraska because of what they saw in the student directory. And I'm not sure if you guys know this, but every player who I think, this is my understanding from talking to people who are at the school, every player who's going to come on a visit or potentially enroll gets put into the student directory because they're running all of their information trying to see if they'll get accepted into the school. Then, when their name pops up, we as the public can go and look for them in the student directory. They might not actually be going to school there, but because they have all their paperwork at the school, their name's in there. So Malik Hornsby's name came up in the student directory. He's still going to Texas Tech, is my understanding, and his name's going to go out of that student directory pretty soon here. But people are so hung up on that student directory, meaning that a player is coming to school here, which isn't the case. So, yeah. YSL Christian, how do transfer players signing work? Because for Nebraska to post him on social media means he had a lot of he had to have sorry guys, I'm foggy mind. He had to have meaningfully committed. Yeah, so like I said a second ago, it's not about signing any paperwork. It's about enrolling in the school. And I don't know what the deadline was for enrolling in the school. I think it's like January 18th, January 16th, somewhere in there. So, yeah. And Jose, I thought I said Texas State. Maybe I said Texas Tech just because I love Texas Tech, but who knows? Texas State, not Texas Tech, for Hornsby. Let's see. And Jose, the linebacker that you're talking about is this one that we had just pulled up a minute ago. MJ Sherman. Instant rotator at the very least, if not starter. Former 5-star, former top 10 at his position. Let's see. I'm back in chat. Matthew says, what's the latest on Xavier Betts coming back to the team at Nebraska? So a couple weeks ago, I heard, not a couple weeks ago, probably a week ago, whenever I released it in my video where I had positioned it as there's a possibility Betts could come back, I heard Betts was coming back at that time. That Betts wanted to be back, that Matt Rule wanted him back, that they had a conversation. So my understanding, as of a week ago, was that Betts was coming back to Nebraska. Then, I think it was yesterday, Sean Callahan and some other people had reported on it finally and said Betts was going to come back. So now, yeah, my understanding is Betts is back. Betts wants to be at Nebraska. And Betts was on his, from what I heard from Twitter people, was that Betts was going to Pittsburgh. And then before he left for his trip to Pittsburgh to visit that campus with his uncle, Nebraska called. Nebraska said, let's get things going back here. Because they don't want to lose their in-state talent. They don't want to lose guys who've been proven producers. And for whatever reason, Betts didn't fit with Mickey Joseph, it doesn't sound like. I don't remember what it was because this is a long time ago. This is back in spring, I think. I made a video when I reacted to Betts leaving. And based on all my research, I had thought that he was either over school, he didn't want to go to school anymore, he didn't like the tough coaching from Mickey Joseph. I think that's what I had led with. He didn't like the tough coaching from Mickey Joseph. It was too intense for him, and he didn't fit anymore. And because he didn't fit, he wanted to take a break. And after he took a break, obviously, he got caught up, and I think he was smoking weed and got arrested for it or something stupid. Things that you get in trouble for in Nebraska or Iowa that are welcomed down in my neighborhood. I think if I got pulled over in my car with weed, a cop would ask me if he could have some. But anyway. Garrett says, how was this not tampering? We're talking about Walter Rouse and OU. He wasn't enrolled at the school yet. So because he wasn't enrolled, he wasn't officially a Nebraska player. He was a commit. He was supposed to be a Nebraska player. But I guess if you're not fully enrolled, the rules are still able to be bent. And you can bend them and say, hey, look, I know that you committed to Nebraska. But this isn't high school. You didn't sign your NLI. I was thinking about NIL. Guys, your NLI, National Letter of Intent. Anyway, because he didn't sign a National Letter of Intent because he doesn't have to, OU can pick up the phone and say, what are you doing, Nebraska? Look at what Donovan Raiola did last year. That offensive line was the worst it's been ever. Look at what we're building. We've got a really good quarterback coming back. We're Oklahoma. We've got the same amount of money to give you. You can be developed into an NFL starter here. Has Nebraska developed any NFL offensive linemen of recent? All of those things could have been said. I don't know what was said. I'm just saying, hypothetically, that's probably the direction it went. I have to assume. Or maybe because he posted a Bible quote. I pulled it up a second ago. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Maybe he got his heart tugged on, and Jesus came. And they sent I don't know, a little Jesus candle to his house and said, look, God doesn't like the direction you're going. Nebraska's not the right school for you. And maybe he bought into that direction. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm trying to make sense of it because I am shocked. People at Nebraska are surprised. This wasn't like Walter Rouse went to Matt Rule and said, hey, I'm flirting with the idea of OU or Nebraska. I'm going to commit to Nebraska. You can make me a graphic. We're going to get it going. But there's still a chance I could decommit and flip. No. Matt Rule thought, we've got a guy who is completely bought in. We are good to go here. And then out of left field, for no apparent reason other than Jesus, he ended up going to Oklahoma. Judy, thank you for the $2 super chat. I get all your comments. I see them. You fire off a ton of them. How much will it cost for us to get you to sing? I don't sing, Judy. I'm not a singer. I would sing if the time was right, though. If Nebraska wins a game, if something big happens, I'll sing a song. I can promise you that. But today's not a day for singing. Today's not a day for singing because there's nothing good to sing about yet. If Nebraska lands a couple of these portal guys, then we could sing. But I mean, even then, I'm not singing till they're enrolled, till they're at practice, till shoulder pads are on, until they can't freaking leave. Because this is wild. I don't like guys being able to go when they want. I liked it when Nebraska could go and get their pick, pull them in, do the whole commitment thing, and we could all get excited and come on here and celebrate. I didn't like the part where we had to come and backtrack on our words. Ugh. Michael Cobb says, Portal Watch tweeted, who's Portal Watch? I've never heard of the Portal Watch account. Are you talking about like the transfer portal account? Portal Watch tweeted Brett Seether, MJ Sherman. Those two are visiting. Omar Spates and Tysheem Johnson are all visiting Nebraska this weekend. Tysheem Johnson was the safety at Ole Miss. He's a highly rated portal guy, which I don't think he's visiting Nebraska. Omar Spates is the Oregon State linebacker, highly rated again. I don't think he's visiting Nebraska right now. But let me know what that Twitter is that you're talking about, because never heard of it. Let's see. CJ Stroud prediction. I mean, I have to predict he's going pro, but it is interesting that he hasn't put his name in yet. He's got 2 more days. It's odd. Why would he not go pro, though? Maybe he wants to be the number 1 quarterback taken and he knows Bryce Young will be the number 1. However, if he ran a really good 40 time, if he ended up having a really good pro day, any number of things could end up swaying the scouts and saying CJ's the number 1 quarterback. I personally, based on what I've seen so far, I would go with CJ Stroud. Cody says Cam Jurgens. Yeah, he was developed into an NFL player. That's true. But outside of him, we don't have many. And I'm not saying that there were no offensive linemen developed and that there's been zero proof. I'm just saying that if you go to Oklahoma, there are a lot more. Cam Jurgens. We can talk about Cam Jurgens, Nick Gates. I'm blanking on one name. Brendan Hymus. There's been a lot of Nebraska offensive linemen who've gone to the pros. There's no question. It's just Oklahoma has more. It's hard to argue with that. And more recent. Let's see. Michelle says now he looks silly. He does look silly. Matt Farniok. Connor says Matt Farniok. Yeah, there's a lot. Okay, so here's a good comment. Henry came in and said Georgia 65%, Nebraska 45%, right? And we're talking about Raiola. Then Colby came in and said more like Georgia 90%, Henry. Okay, here's the deal with all the Raiola talk. And I think the Raiola talk is fun. The Raiola talk is cute. But the Raiola talk is all, how do I say it? Talk. It's all air. It doesn't freaking matter. Dylan Raiola is a 17-year-old kid. Okay, let's start there. Dylan Raiola has no idea how much he's going to change from now into the next months, or in the next 9 months. He has no idea who the offensive coordinator at Georgia is going to be 9 months from now. He has no idea how the Nebraska team is going to look from now. And he is not going to make any decisions that are life-defining decisions until 11 months from now when he has to. So here's the way I look at it. You've got 11 months, you could commit, you could decommit, you could go on 50 visits, you can do whatever you want, and it's all fun and it's all entertainment for fans. But there is one day that matters, and the only day that matters is when you put the pen to paper and sign that NLI and you say which school you are going to. He can commit to Georgia, and I still won't be sold on him going to Georgia. Just like he committed to Ohio State, and he's not going to Ohio State. Just like he could commit to Nebraska tomorrow, and it would mean nothing to me. I would come on here, I would do the whole rah, rah, rah thing. We'd get the tips going. We'd get the emojis flying. We'd have a good freaking time for an hour talking about Dylan Raiola being the next big thing at Nebraska. But I would get in bed at night after I did that, and I would know nobody's safe. Just like the Walter Rouse deal today. Nebraska is not safe. A commitment means nothing. Go look at America. What's the divorce rate in America? Is it 60 plus? Something like that? Commit to me now, Dylan, and there's a 60% chance you're leaving me before you have to sign pen to paper. So I don't care about commitments, even though people love to get hung up on them, even though people like to talk about them. Doesn't matter. It means nothing. Tim, when does the portal close? This is a good question. So there are different dates, and none of them matter to me because it's all, fine print. The portal closes like right before the semester starts. So I think in the next 4 days the portal closes, or the next 2 days, something like that. But then it reopens. It reopens for spring and fall, I think. So guys are going to enter in March, April, May, whatever, and Nebraska's going to have their pick of the next litter. And then Nebraska's going to bring in some new guys right before fall camp. Last year, who'd they bring in before fall camp? I think O'Shawn, Kane Williams from Alabama, Omar Brown from Northern Iowa. Who else? I don't remember. Those are the three I can remember off top, but multiple, I think Kevin Williams from Northern Colorado. Anyway, multiple guys are still on the table because there are a lot of guys at schools right now, and they just haven't left yet. They're going to go through spring ball. Just like some of the guys, I'm checking any news on Twitter right now just to make sure I'm covering everything. There were a lot of guys at Nebraska who we had questions about. A month ago, and we said, why have they not entered the portal? An example would be Ramir Johnson. An example would be Gabe Irvin, because you have a loaded running back room. Realistically, are all these guys in Nebraska going to stay? Probably not, because what will happen is as we go through spring ball, they'll start to understand their role. They'll start to see where they fit in, and they'll start to see, I've either got a chance or I got to get the hell out and either bounce back to a smaller school like Bowling Green or just move back closer to home or whatever they got to do. The same thing's going to happen at USC, at Georgia, at TCU, at Alabama, at Clemson, and everywhere else. And then you're going to have all of these guys, kind of like MJ Sherman, who we had just talked about a minute ago, who have a chance to start at a school like Nebraska, who had a slim chance to get playing time at their big-time school, but now they have to enter the portal. And Matt Rule might see that and say, bling, I need to go reload, because what we've learned in spring ball is that there aren't enough guys who can get the job done the right way. We're not deep enough, so let's get it popping. We could end up with 15 portal transfer guys, just like we saw last year. I think it ended at 15. Right now, Nebraska, I was going to say 9. We're at 8. Nebraska's at 8 transfers in. You know what pisses me off? I made a video yesterday. You guys already watched it, and I ranked Nebraska's 9 portal pickups, and I put Walter Rouse at number 2. Thank God I didn't put him at number 1. Could you imagine how frustrated I would be if I put him at number 1 and then we lost the number 1 guy? I still put him ahead of Ben Scott. Ben Scott, I'm sorry. Someone send this to Ben Scott and tell Ben I'm sorry. Because Ben should have been the number 2. Walter Rouse should have been the number 0. He shouldn't have been on that list. I should have seen it. I should have known. It is what it is. Walter Rouse sold us. He gave us this compelling speech, this I'm locked in, this Walter Rouse used words like we. How are you going to use words like we when we're talking about last year's team that you weren't even on? We are going to change the narrative. We are going to revive the program. We are going to do what we couldn't do last year. You were one of us for 2 days. Gross. Ugh. Okay, sorry guys. I just went on a little rant. I gotta chill out. I'm gonna come back to the chat. Nate Train says Husker fans need to stop getting so worked up about these players. Whether it's Rouse, Raiola, or whoever, there are a lot of good players out there. Even if we don't get Raiola, we'll get others. I love this, Nate. That's a fact. You're 100% right. Now, for entertainment purposes, I have to get worked up about players because it's fun and I like to talk about it and it's entertaining. But you're right. There's no reason people should be getting worked up over these guys because this is in basketball. In basketball, you have to worry about one star. Any team LeBron plays for is going to be good because they have the best player, right? You've only got 5 guys on the court. With football, there are, 30 guys who contribute in a game? Maybe more, maybe 35 who contribute in a game, who contribute meaningful snaps, right? 35, which means you don't need one star. One star helps, don't get me wrong. But typically what's happening is one star comes into a program and then they attract 4 or 5 other stars. So now you end up with this one star who you say, well, Trevor Lawrence changed the program. Trevor Lawrence got them to the national championship. But was it Trevor Lawrence or was it Trevor Lawrence and the homies. Because what really happened was Trevor comes, Trevor's friends are all star football players too, and they're like, well, I'm going wherever Trevor goes. So they all come, and it's this pack herd mentality. If you took Trevor Lawrence and you put him at Bowling Green, but he didn't get any bonuses, he just got the normal Bowling Green team, would he turn Bowling Green into a dominant force? Probably not. Probably not. Thank you, Nate, for the comment. You're right. Owen says, once the transfer portal closes, are our transfers safe then? Yes. No. Well, okay. I don't know the difference between the transfer portal closing date and the enrolling date. Our portal transfers are safe in terms of they won't be able to enroll in another school once that enrollment date closes. But you can transfer anytime throughout the off season, essentially, because if you enter your name in a certain date, you just have to wait for the portal to open again to leave. Now, I don't know when that rule I had talked about comes into place. There's a new rule we talked about in the video yesterday where you aren't allowed to transfer more than one time. Otherwise, you got to sit out for a year. That might not kick in until next season. So that'll get tricky. Let's see. Colin says that corner who was at UCF transferred to Nebraska. Oh, his name was Brandon. He wore number 24? I'm blanking on his name. Somebody in the chat's going to pop his name up. But yes, he transferred right before the season started. I think that was another window. But I don't know if the windows are changing. Like LSU says portal's changed. It closes on the 19th and then it opens up for 15 days in the spring. And then I don't know how it'll work getting closer to fall camp. Let's see here. Chaz says, are there any good O-linemen still in the portal? I could check right now. Let's see if there's any big names. But like I said, there's going to be more guys who enter. I've got to get off here in 15 minutes, by the way, guys. So we got 15 more minutes. I'm doing a video with the voice of college football. He hit me up on Twitter, asked me to come on. So I'm going to go do a video with him today. I don't know what we're talking about. I just hop on there, and he asked me questions, kind of like an interview. I've done it once before. Let's see. On 3. Transfers 2023. Yeah. By the way, we've got 376 people in the chat right now. We have 56 likes. So if you love me, if you love the content, if you want more people to be able to see this video, hit the like button because it really helps support the channel and it costs you $0. Zero again. Okay, offensive lineman in the portal. Taken. God, all the best guys get taken. You got one right here from Kentucky, Walter Rouse. Ugh, I want to throw up in my mouth whenever I see his name now. So all the top third, okay, Chris Walker. How about that? For those who don't know, Chris Walker was at Nebraska as a defensive end linebacker. He was on defense. I don't remember what position he was. Let's assume he was the defensive end back in Mike Riley era. Scott Frost comes in. Things didn't work out for him here. I think this was what happened. I think it was the Scott Frost transition. He leaves and goes to Montana at some point. At Montana, he becomes, I think, all Big Sky, like an all-conference level player. And he ends up in the portal again. He's 6'6", 275. He has 1 year of eligibility left, and he's a potential NFL player. He's a tackle. Does Nebraska try to go after him? I don't know. He's rated higher than Jacob Hood, who's the Georgia tackle who entered, which is interesting to me. This guy was a defensive lineman at Nebraska who didn't make it, so he transferred to Montana, and he's rated higher than Jacob Hood. Craziness. Anyway, there are a couple guys left in the portal, it looks like. A couple. But yeah, those are tackles. If you go to offensive guards and centers, which interior offensive linemen, let's see here. When we look at the top 20, most guys are gone. I don't know where this guy Zach Zambrano will go. I don't know where Logan Parr will go. Who knows? But some of these guys weren't starters, right? Like this guy Logan Parr wasn't a starter at Texas, so he left. He was a high-rated 4-star coming out of high school, didn't get to play, and now he's entering the portal because he didn't get to play. So how much do you want him, right? Whereas Walter Rouse was a guy who would play immediately, because he has a ton of experience. So anyway, let me get some chats before we get out of here, because I want to make sure I get all your questions and I cover everything you guys want to talk about. Cornhusker Corner says a man who is indecisive off the field is likely to be indecisive on the field. Oklahoma can have this guy. Whatever. Fair enough. I like that. Hold on. I'm checking to see if there's any last minute news that has popped up on Twitter. No last minute news. Colin says Rouse was a grown man, not a confused 18 to 19-year-old. It was all about the money. I would just be surprised if Nebraska lost someone over money, because Nebraska has things in place that I would think wouldn't be, what's the right word? Beaten out. Nebraska's got it dialed in, so I'm surprised by that. Here's another comment from Ned. Same story. Matt says, did you see Nebraska posted the coaches' salaries? I did see that. I haven't talked about it yet. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to make a video about it probably where I rank all of them, and I'll talk about their salaries in that video. LF the man says, does anyone know what happened to IGC? I don't know what happened. I got to hit him up because I'm interested to know. He's a receiver in the portal. He's in the top 60. Haven't seen him get any offers or any traction yet. I'm sure some schools have reached out, but I should hit him up and ask him. I like that guy. I was a big fan when he came to Nebraska. I was a big fan once he played in that first game, and I was really disappointed to see that he left. Terrible, just terrible says, when will the interview be live, or will it be live? The interview, from my understanding, won't be live. He usually records them, and then he cuts them up and puts them out into little videos. So that's what I'm assuming he'll do again. Daniel says we should try to get a tight end from the portal. Yes, we should. We've got one on a visit today. For sure on a visit today. Husker Nation, thank you for the 5. How does the NIL work? Is that money on top of academic scholarship? You've got your academic scholarship money, which includes your room, that includes your board and all your food and everything else. I'm not sure how much money these guys get for like a little stipend. It used to be players would get a couple $1,000s a month, which would cover, I don't know what all that entailed, but they get a few $1,000s a month to keep them alive. Now you've got NIL. That's a totally separate deal. NIL is like me doing my YouTube channel. All the money I get off my YouTube channel goes in my pocket. If I was a scholarship athlete at Nebraska, everything else is covered already. My room, my board, my food, all of my clothes, everything, that I need. So I think the right way to say it is the necessities are covered by your scholarship, and then all the extra fun money comes from NIL now. Jose says, does Oklahoma have better NIL than us? I would think they have equal NIL money. I don't think that they have better. Cody says, with Betts coming back, do we go after another portal wide receiver? I think they only go after another portal wide receiver as if there's someone really good out there. I don't know if there's anybody really good now, or if they're going to have to wait for others to enter in. Let's see. Right now, the portal receiver options in the top 10 are Dante Cephas, but he's going to go to Penn State, I think. Yeah, not many portal options at receiver who are untapped. Yeah, I think Nebraska, if they're going to go for a receiver, they're going to have to wait. Aggie Hall was a good one, but I don't know where he'll end up. He went from Alabama to Texas, not playing there, to who knows what he'll do. Kyle Ford's a good one. I thought maybe Kyle Ford could be a potential at Nebraska. He's got a ton of starting experience at USC. He was initially being recruited by Nebraska back in what year? What class was he? 2018? 2019. So, yeah, Kyle Ford went to the same high school as J.D. Piquel. He went to the same high school, a high school down the street from me, my rival high school. He would be a big pickup for Nebraska. But I'm not sure what other what other options there are, what guys Nebraska's looking at now. The chef says, how come nobody's talking about Xavier Worthy? Played great with Casey. Because Xavier Worthy wouldn't transfer. I think he would stay at Texas because you've got what's his name? Arch Manning coming in, and Quinn Ewers wasn't bad. I struggle to say Quinn Ewers wasn't bad. He looked terrible at the end of the season. Arch Manning, though, should be the starter. So why leave Texas unless you're going to go for the NFL? Xavier had some drop balls now that I think about it. Watching Texas, Xavier did not finish off strong. And I don't think Xavier hit the portal. I think Xavier said that he hadn't made a decision on whether he was coming back or not, which could have meant he was going pro. But I do not think Xavier's in the portal. Don't think he'll go for the portal. Let's see. Everyone's saying is Betts back. Yeah, my understanding is Betts back. A week ago, I heard Betts was coming back. And then yesterday, public news broke that Betts was coming back. Betts is back. Betts is going to be a receiver on this team. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know if he has some grade issues to take care of. I don't know if he can just enroll like normal and pick up where he left off. I have no idea. But my understanding as of 7 days ago, Betts is back. Harold Lord says both Marcus and Xavier dropped so many balls. Yeah, I don't know. Texas receivers have ball drop problems? I'm not sure. Marcus has a lot of potential. Hopefully he cleans it up and he can catch some more balls. And Bryson says Worthy can't go pro. That's all the talk I can give about Xavier Worthy. Anyway, like I said, I don't break news, but there's a recruit on campus right now who is a day one starter, a commit or a transfer portal target on campus who's a day one starter who Nebraska fans would love to commit. I don't break the news. I'm not going to say the name. I'm sure Sean Callahan will later today once he finds out about it. Nebraska is still in the running for big-time players. NFL players. Generational players. You get what I'm saying? They're still in the running. It's not done yet. So just have faith in Matt Rule. Have belief and an understanding that this staff knows what it's going to take to win. And if it's not right away, they know what it's going to take to win in the first 2-3 years. So they're trying to build a foundation. They're doing something special. I'm excited for when this news does come out. And you heard it here first. I just won't say the name. Yeah. It's funny. I see some chat rolling in now. Anyway, I've got to go and do this, what is it called? The Voice of College Football interview at noon. I don't know what he's going to ask me about. I mean, I'm sure he's going to ask me about Walter Rouse now. I wish I had more info. There's just nothing for me to say about Walter Rouse because I have no freaking idea. Brent Venables just made a tweet. Ugh. Before I leave, I got to show this. Ugh. Throw up in my mouth. Ugh. I just dislike OU. Brent Venables. Ugh. 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 I'm all in. And it's Walter Rouse on FaceTime with... Ugh. At least Matt Rule's a good-looking guy. Imagine waking up to that face. Ugh. Champ you. Oh, hell yeah. Boomer. It's going to take me some time to get over this one. I'm going to be honest. At least they didn't lose him to Colorado. Actually, chat, would you have rather lost Walter Rouse to Colorado or to Oklahoma? Serious, let me know in the chat. Colorado or Oklahoma? Who's worse? Ugh. Ugh. Chat would have rather lost him to primetime. What's the greatest position hole that needs to be filled? Offensive line. We need offensive linemen. We need offensive linemen. There's no question. Anyway. Yeah. Wow. People hate Dion with a passion. Both are worse. Colorado, so we can beat them right away. It makes sense. All right, I'm gonna get ready for this Mark Rogers interview where we talk about I don't know what, and then I'm gonna start working on a video for tomorrow or something. Depressed Husker fan came in at the wrong time. He says, "What's up, Connor? First time making it to the live in a while. Thanks for coming in. I gotta dip out of here." Because I gotta go do this interview. But thank you for everybody who came. Hit the like button before you leave. former 5-star on campus, big-time offensive player. I'm not leaking the name or the position, but you guys can do the math. He's on campus for a visit, and I don't break news, but that news will be broken soon. Until next time, I will see you guys, and thanks for coming. GBR.